Welcome back to the channel. A lot of you have requested to see Cyberpunk 2077 running on the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro with the 4K AI upscaling versus Stadia's Chromecast Ultra running at 4K. So I've gone ahead and done that, put this together for you really quickly before we jump into the actual video and the comparisons of everything. I just wanted to lay out the methodology just a little bit real quick. So Stadia is going to be running on the visuals mode because we're not focusing on the frame rate and smoothness in this particular video. We're more focused on the resolution and graphic settings, so I want to put them on their highest possible graphic setting. Like any other console version of Cyberpunk right now, you have an option between the high frame rate or the visuals mode. So we got that on visuals, and nothing else really turned off. Motion blur is turned off. And then over on GeForce Now, I'm running that at the same settings I've been testing that on, which is the high preset with motion blur turned off. Film grain is off, but the other settings match. And everything is through Ethernet, and everything is captured on the Elgato 4K capture card at 4K 60. To get everything just as close to a level playing field, we're playing this game from each of these companies, GeForce Now and Stadia, in the best way that they would say to play them. The Shield TV Pro with AI upscaling, running on high, and on Stadia with the Chromecast Ultra at 4K, running with the best visuals that we can over there. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the comparison between these and see how we do. Alright, so obviously we're not comparing apples to apples here. It's very different versions of the game, but still very interesting to see GeForce Now versus Stadia at the best possible way that we would be able to play those. So we have our GeForce Now and our Stadia up here in a split screen, taking the elevator ride down to the part where you kind of enter into the city first. So we have full ray tracing and everything on GeForce Now, and of course we don't over on Stadia, and you'll see just a dramatic difference in a lot of the lighting and reflections and shadows and different effects as we just kind of take a look at this elevator scene and some other stuff here. So obviously a much more natural lighting with ray tracing on GeForce Now than you're going to get on any of the console versions such as Stadia, Xbox, PlayStation, that kind of stuff. But looking really good here. And as we come out into the city, we're going to take a look at some snapshots. And the first thing I want to show you is look at the GeForce Now, the PC version having high crowd density on. It just feels a little bit more full most of the time. Here we go, coming out at the exact same time, same save area, same thing when you come out here. Just not as full particularly here. Now there are other areas that sometimes it doesn't quite seem so, but almost all the time the world is much, much more populated on GeForce Now due to that PC version. So taking a look at the same walk down here on Stadia. Now the game does play fantastic on both platforms. It just depends on if you want to be playing the PC version or more the console version. So, and if you want ray tracing, which you'll see much more natural lighting here as we sit here with GeForce Now next to Stadia. Both of them doing a pretty good job as far as the resolution, but I do feel like GeForce Now's AI upscaling on the Shield TV Pro is actually kind of bringing out the detail a bit more in most of the scenes. But that could also be because we're running a higher graphic version of the game, being the high preset versus what the Stadia graphics version would be, which is definitely not high or above. There we go, just taking a little bit of a walk around the initial city area here. And you can see a little bit of the motion. Stadia does handle the motion pretty well, but I do feel like sometimes it might not even quite be 30, but it's really hard to tell. You can see a lot of difference just in the colors. I don't know if that's all having to do with the platform itself, or if it also has to do with just the natural lighting from the ray tracing. So I'll sit down here with Jackie and look at a little bit of their conversation here, and most of the differences you'll see here will be like in his jacket detail, the hair especially, things like that. They just come out more, again, whether it's due more to the AI upscaled 4K or the higher settings being the PC version on GeForce Now. You just get a little bit more of those finer details. Again, the game runs great on both these platforms. I have about 12 hours combined between the two of GeForce Now and Stadia. Right there you can see that switch of just a dramatic difference in pop in color, just looking more washed out on Stadia. Again, is it due to the platform or the ray traced shadows, reflection, lighting, and all that? Look right here. Look at the amount of lighting you get in the tunnel right there. I'm going to put up a screenshot for you. Go back and check that out again too. The difference, just what ray tracing does in a lot of these games, and it's used well in this game. It's just a totally different, lit up, more alive scene rather than just being a dark tunnel. I'm right here standing at this alleyway, another example of just crowd density and the world feeling a bit more alive. And you can of course see, looking around at the ground and looking out in the distance there at that pink tree, a little bit more finer detail and a little bit more color pop. Again, GeForce Now in full screen here. And we'll switch over to Stadia. Again, a great experience for me on both, but you're getting those higher PC settings and ray tracing over on GeForce Now. So now look here as we get into the car, you'll see a lot more smoke kind of hang around here with those higher settings. You'll see the details in his jacket popping out a lot more, and just overall a lot more sharpness and detail in this scene over on GeForce Now. But game looks amazing, honestly, on both platforms. Stadia has run better than I thought it would, especially being closer to the console versions right now. I hope they get the next gen upgrades next year. Here's a little bit of a zoom in. Again, you can see the detail difference if you look at kind of like, I think that's a can or something sitting right there, and out of the box, the rocks, the sidewalk. Kind of check all that out and just see a lot of clarity difference, whether that be the texture quality or the upscaling that's happening, but definitely a difference there in all of the sharpness and detail.
Paid to take it off their hands just before the Gangoons had a switch up in management. Right, heard about that.
All right, another side by side here as we're getting ready to go into this this mission right here. Really good looking on both consoles. You can see the lighting, shadow, detail difference a bit there on GeForce Now with this version, but everything looking really, really nice here as well. Alright, a little bit of a gun scene right here after that side by side. Motion is handled and latency is handled really well by both platforms. Now full screen GeForce Now.
Who's ready to
The muzzle flashes, you'll notice, because of ray tracing, are just so much more detailed. When we switch over here to Stadia, still looking nice, but it's a much more generic lighting with the muzzle flash there. Alright, I think that's pretty much going to do it for Cyberpunk 2077. Shield TV Pro 4K AI upscaled versus Stadia's Chromecast Ultra in 4K. I've been loving this game everywhere that I play it. I hope you're enjoying Cyberpunk, even with all of its bugs, and I hope this video helped you out and saw the difference between the two versions. Thanks a lot for coming to check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.